been overworked.
Yeah. Well, I don't, yeah. I don't want hating people because it hurts
No.
either way, because we're mean or because we.
I love these seats.
Yeah, me too.
They're so comfy. This one looks good today. Often he does 3 days in a row and gets cranky, but he's very, very soft today. Was it nice to see him on video? Yeah, you realize how well he's done. Yeah. Never saw it, no. And Wilson and I both drive the way you do. We send energy down the range.
I've never seen that angle.
Yeah. The viewing.
All I see is this.
Yeah. We try to video each other, so we.
Which is kind of nice though, because you can. I like the videos because you can, see the front of his face
Yeah.
and
he's not
Hear what he's doing.
he's not as curled as you think he is.
right.
He's actually much more honest than you think he is. But from where we sit in the carriage, particularly when you sit high like you do, those ears can disappear quickly.
Well, and also when he gets so white,
Yeah.
then I'm like, uh-oh.
It's like, where'd he go? Where'd he go? Yeah. He's pretty clever at finding an evasion.
Billy's not gonna ask me about that.
No, not anymore. He's really very pleasant.
Well, look at all his breath that's through.
Yeah.
I'm throwing that part out.
Yes.
I got all of that.
I was gonna say you did that one, but Wilson, no.
I did that before.
Yeah, Margie Cox did. Rudy, the red Morgan that was with us, Norma's horse. Margie Cox did his bridal path because somebody else had done it last year and she didn't even look. She just did it. Norma's like, I spent all winter growing that out. I said, well, you needed to put a red flag on it. So Margie was just processing horses.
Yeah.
You
Well, same with like the edge of his name there.
Like she used, it took her 2 hours and 2 new clipper blades to get through the hair and the dirt on that horse.
That red horse?
Yeah. And we bathed him. He had so much hair and so much Vermont mud in him. And she doesn't charge extra when he eats up 2 clipper blades. She should.
I remember when we put,
That's a good one.
that guy in.
Oh my God.
The 4 rubber blades for his legs.
Yeah,
And it was nasty.
it was like trying to cut a hayfield with a lawnmower.
Here in December, so you couldn't bathe him.
No. It was like trying to mow a hayfield with a lawnmower.
Same with my mother did last year.
Yeah. Like having a push mower on a
She's
hayfield.
like, she came back like she was supposed to mow the dressage arena, and she came back like, I don't know, 4 hours later. I was like, what, that took you a long time? It usually takes you about an hour. And she's like, yeah, it was so tall, like it was taller than the mower. And I had to
She was out on the hayfield part.
mow the whole hayfield.
Just mow the little green square in the middle.
Well, I guess it could be an ad for these stinky little John Deere mowers. Look, you can mow a whole hayfield with it.
Oh God.
I had to go over it 3 or 4 times in spots.
That's a big dense hayfield too. That's a big dense.
That's where Randy was supposed to put all the goo.
Yeah.
He went out there and mowed it.
Is that what he did now? Because it does look like he sort of leveled it.
Yeah, he went out there and went over it with the brush hog.
Well, that's what Wilson said. He should take a flail mower out, and that would solve it. I was telling him about it. He goes, oh my God, if he'd done it to me, he wouldn't have needed to fix it because I'd have killed him. He said he wouldn't have been around to fix it. He said, well, why on earth would you throw manure on a lawn?
Yeah, well, I told him to put it around like where the hay field is
Yeah.
out there because he was driving all the way down to this pasture, and I don't know if you know this, but this road is not so great.
No, it's not.
With
It's
the
a
trac-
muck hole.
With the tractor and stuff going over all those,
Yeah.
those drops and
It's
stuff.
it's
I was
it's
like,
not a
This is not gonna be good for the tractor.
it's not a city road. It's a farm rut.
Well, that's an old animal too.
Yeah. No.
We're going at the same time in there was ravine, and he dragged it out of the tractor and cleaned it up, and sometime I go and power steering off of it.
Those are
And
those
then
are.
got a new battery and fixed up one of the tires and started it, and he's like, there you go, look at that.
Those old tractor jockeys are a riot. They trade parts like we trade socks.
Yeah, well, then it was funny, because he's like, oh, you don't need this part, but this part, so we'll just sell that, buy part cheap. But it does not
But he does have an endless supply of parts that he's been collecting for 100 years.
Oh, yeah, you can get about any part that it's amazing the parts that you can get, and you can find parts that go to other things that will work.
Yeah.
And I think it's not a rare occasion that there's like Mountain Dew cans welded into engines.
Exactly. And around this and over that. Those old tractor jockeys, they can make something out of nothing. If you and I went to look for parts, we couldn't find them. Howdy, ma'am.
How's it going?
Chevy that Marek had.
Yeah.
And he actually, the parts for it was actually from a tractor powered auger. So yeah, it's the same thing.
You're not shy about parts. That looks pretty good and loose. I think he's pretty organized. It's really nice that he's not getting offended at 3 days in a row.
Yeah, he actually gets better usually. But he was a little pissy this morning, so I was questioning.
He might have been cold. And last night was definitely a midweight winter blanket night. When it's 31 degrees, it's and his coat's beautiful, but it's shorter than most people's.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be nice and not jerk your head around there, Fan. No. Fang, you've been caught in there once. Oh, great rocket scientist, there he goes.
Apparently I saw Christina, because she took him to the vet, his defibrillator, whatever, so it's very old.
Oh.
That's why I said something.
He does walk, well, he walks like the crystals in his ear out of balance. He walks like the crystals. That's what he looks like, the crystals in his ears are out of balance.
Well, is that him right there?
No, he just went over the edge.
Well, what's that one?
I don't know.
That must be Fang there.
Could be. I thought
The other one must have gone over
I
there.
thought the other one went over the edge, had a crooked head, but maybe not.
No, Fang has a crooked head.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was Fang.
The other one is, and he just pops in and out like an idiot.
He lives here and somewhere else.
Yeah, he wanders a section. We sit and put her out by the river sometimes.
It's not a bad job if you can get it.
But, you know, we actually captured him and got him. Dr. Thompson pickpocketed him
Yeah.
years ago. And then he got out police and maybe had a contact. He comes pretty close though.
Well, he knows where the food is.
Yeah.
He sees no reason to be castrated twice, so why would he want to be caught?
He's kind of a wild. Some cats are just wild.
I think that
Which is fine, they can just stay wild.
I think he's an opportunist.
Yeah.
He gets to live here without being captured. It's a nice deal. That's pretty steady, good boy. Yeah, well, he's still deciding which piece of his anatomy to use next. Yeah, this is Fang right here. He's not quite sound and his head tips.
I think he's pretty old too, I have no idea. He, disappeared one day. I was training him building his quarters, he had a hold him, and I didn't know that, you're a cat.
Yeah.
That's weird. But no, he's just awesome.
Well, he's had a good life here. I saw your new orange one. He's pretty cute.
Yeah, he disappeared. He's getting closer.
If you were a cat left in the wilderness, you'd move in here too.
Sometimes people.
Fang knows that other bugger's over there.
Yeah,
he
so
went to
now
their
the bugger's
place.
the one that beat him
See if
up.
we can jump in.
Oh,
I
cat
think
fight in the wall, that could be
sometimes
fun.
People can't keep their animals anymore, so they just turn them loose out.
Yeah. Give him to Jada. She'll take care of
And
him.
they wander off here.
No, I'm pretty sure they just
That
drive
little
right
black
up and
one,
drop
I'm
them
pretty sure
off.
somebody put in the shed and shut the doors.
But a farm is always a good place to leave your animals. People assume they'll get fed.
It should, just, like, at least we can know what goes on.
Yeah. Well, for the animal's sake, so you know how old it is and
Well, yeah.
what it's had for care and what it needs.
Most of the time, you know, Jess is actually pretty good about placing cats. She's found homes for about 4 of them.
A place like this can operate with quite a lot of cats too,
Well,
as long as they're healthy.
well, yeah, and there's some cats that,
Now, Fang, that wasn't a smart choice. Now they're both behind the
A
wall.
cat fight in the wall.
Maybe Fang gets beat up because he goes looking for trouble. 'Cause he just went over the edge too.
That's what I said, I think he's somewhat suicidal.
I think he is.
Maybe he knows that his legs are running.
So as you're making those bend changes, see if you can get him to actually reach. He did that yesterday. Then he got going pretty well together. And then he would put his head down for the direction change. And then stay there or lower. There, good boy. Because I understand why they brace their neck, because it's technically easier to throw your head up and brace. And that's what they do when they're running loose. You know, they fling their heads up and down and they splatter all over the place. But you have to remind them. And the beauty of being indoors is they lift their head, it's easy to see because there's a board on the wall just the level of his neck. And when his neck comes above the board, there's another black cat.
How many black cats do you have?
2.
Well, where did he come from?
Same place.
He came out.
They can come along inside the wall. And when Fang came down, he thought maybe leaving was a nice idea.
Yeah, exactly.
That's monster with a rat tail. It always looks like I'm reviewing the situation. But I think he saw Fang arrive and said, this is probably not a good place for a fight to the finish. Yeah, I will have to remember Fang's in there if we don't see him in a day. So we want this one to kind of look at the ground, not fall into the ground, but look at the ground, make long his neck. There, good boy. And it's always a catch-22, like Lex yesterday discovered that stretch was really cool.
And you wanted to stay
And
there?
then and then he's sort of like, well, when it's time to lengthen, can you just throw my head in the ground? And of course you can't because your front end can't get out of the way then. But he was trying to make his own arrangement for his convenience. That's good, but not any faster. It's starting to get quick. Not quick, but fast. He doesn't do what the littler ponies do where they get quick. But he was just sort of, he was looking like he was starting to do the marathon trot. You know, when 18 kph is natural.
Oh, here comes Fang.
Exactly. I know. There goes Fang.
I kind of forgot the obstacles were faster than 13 kph. So after we know the 2 that were really close together,
Yeah.
all of a sudden I'm like, how did we get it done in 10 time?
Because you do the obstacles quicker. And the early part of that course is quick, but many people had time faults because it gets slower as you go. At Southern Pines, people who never have time faults had time faults. So then Lisa Singer tried to tell me I was early. Yeah, and I said, Lisa, you know me better than that. I'm not going to be early on a day that you can barely get around the course.
Everybody else is 10 minutes late.
Yeah, and I'm early. And so my dear navigator, who I adore, he said, let me take care of this. I'm the engineer. So he said, yeah, he said, you go on in, somebody will hold your horse for you. And I'll be there shortly. Because the end was right below where I was going to land. So he arrived, he said, well, I've now taught Lisa Singer and Anne-Marie Turbay and Shelley Temple how to convert seconds and minutes. He says, and it turns out we weren't early, just like we knew we weren't. I did not need those time faults, which I didn't get. And then finally my knockdown that I didn't have went away and you got it at Black Bronx.
Which didn't really matter because my dressage was way behind anyway.
It wasn't usual good test. Hey, that's not. No greedy, huh? You just let it out because you had it packaged and it got bigger and bigger and bigger and none of his adjusting the levels. That was really, really seamless. Or you just segued. Yeah, good boy. And then he goes, well, maybe I've had enough of that. I did it so well. He actually did. He did it once yesterday with Donna. She went down. He went down there, and she drove the corner well, but she didn't say, yeah, you can go there. And he went, oh, my.
Sometimes I don't know if it's because the mirror is in that corner, they kind of back off in the.
It's a very bright mirror. And I think a lot of the time he's trotting along reciting his mantra, going Om, Om. Then he goes, Om shit, what's that? At Live Oak. We had one American driver, a very wealthy lady named Eleanor Gallagher. And she didn't get selected for the team one year. And her cranky lawyer husband dug up the criteria, which said the top 3 at the national singles will be on the team. And she'd been 3rd at national singles. And she'd been one year. The first time she went, they took her specifically for her fabulous dressage. She had a big Dutch horse when Dutch was new. And he went in the ring at the World Championship, saw the Jumbotron, ran backwards, had the worst dressage of the whole event. So they weren't dying to send her again. But they had to send her because they were going to sue. And by God, he did it again. Yeah, well, because the criteria had said the top 3 from the national championship. Good boy.
Isn't there more criteria than just
Yeah, but they took that. So when they got done trying to sue, she got on the team, and he did it again. He went in looking for the Jumbotron this time. Norma was cute. She was going around her test. She looked up at the Jumbotron with her lecture. She goes, shit, Robin's going to kill me. I better get going. I wondered why in the middle of the length when she suddenly went forward. But you could see she was loafing. Now his neck's a little high and a little block. There you go. Better. He doesn't do anything big, but he just kind of cranks his neck and locks it. That's a good one.
Yeah, and then he does actually shake it.
And just watch that I don't know if that was meant to be a lengthen or not. Okay. It looked like it was, because that was what he was doing, but I couldn't tell, because sometimes he just goes lengthening off to see if you'll notice.
Oh, yeah.
With that neck.
I started making him do it in like other places. besides-
I go on a 40-meter circle outdoors and
Yeah.
lengthen, shorten, leg shorten, round and round and round for hours, and I get really good lengthens. But mine will just suddenly throw in a lengthen because it feels like it. That's a good boy. That's what we're looking for, is no hops. He's still a little bit getting on his left shoulder trying to sneak out of that corner. It wasn't bad, but it just was, if I were being a real stinky judge, I would say unbalanced, that's better, much better. I would have had to say unbalanced in corner and take a point off. That's good. Good. And the more transition, I know Michael Freund used to say, until you've made 20 transitions to extension, you're not warmed up.
Yeah.
Of course, some people's horses are exhausted by then. Not Marek.
He keeps going around all day.
Yeah, this isn't doing him any harm.
A lot of work, yeah, I think that lengthen is easy for him.
A lot of people warm up going, uh-oh, I hope I don't wear him out, but this thing's fit and he likes to lengthen.
And we know 12 minutes of warm-up is all he needs.
Out of it.
Well,
And it makes him in a better mood.
they get to looking very automatic. I think he's happy thinking he's running away with you. Now, don't lose the left shoulder. Yeah, good. Left shoulder, outside shoulder 4. He still could go more right shoulder 4 there. And I wouldn't whine, except I know he can. Like there his right shoulder's 4. He's still leaving his shoulder's position in case he needs to flee from that mirror. Because you never know. So think leg yield in that corner. Yeah. Out, out. There you go. And you notice he went, whoa, what happened? Well, it does give him a different view, too. Because it gets his right eye scanning the whole wall, which is what he's trying to avoid. Now he can come back. Oops, except the net came up. So the idea for the transition down is for him to sit, but not reset his neck. The good news is he's rubbery, and the bad news, well, that's charming. And the bad,
I was turning and he was lengthening out.
He was like, no, you can't change the plan.
the good news is he's rubbery, and the bad news is he's rubbery. Oh, you want right? Well, you got to tell me 2 weeks ahead of time. He thinks he's an aircraft carrier. He needs 3 miles notice.
Yeah.
And keep remembering to put the inside hind under, because he's a slinky bugger, and he goes, she won't miss that step. That's it. Well, now left hind under, if you're going left. There you go. Now right shoulder 4, lots of left hind under. Right shoulder 4, yeah, better. That time he carved a corner instead of lurching around it. So make sure every time you push a button, you've got all the retro things ready to say, don't do the other thing. Because you push a button and he has his own interpretation. Exactly. He says, I'm going to do it where it's easier for me and you won't even notice. Came out of that corner very nicely with his inside hind under and his butt hugging the wall. Good boy, good boy, good boy. There you got a bend from head to tail without too much neck bend. That was Dale the other day. Yeah. Well, he moves the neck instead of rotating his shoulders. I'm cheating. That's what Dale's pony is doing. He got a bend and he was about to touch. Yeah, and he's about to touch his shoulder with his nose. The rest of the rig's going straight in the opposite direction. It looks good in your outside hand there. Yeah. We're looking for consistent, no, poppy up and down. There you go. Isn't it fun to have something that's always trying to amend what you're saying?
I have two teenagers too.
Yeah.
They do the same thing.
That's what Indy's like.
I was about to say it
I
just
keep telling him I don't need a 15-year-old boy. I got a 13-year-old Morgan Cross, 14-year-old Morgan Cross. That's it. God, no. Well, you know, oh no, I'd shoot him. Because you know, the guy that we had the CBD pellet lecture from was saying that in all the research they've done on the you know, CBD is the part of the cannabis that is non-hallucinogenic.
Oh, the like oil?
Yeah, this was a pellet. But the guy that did this in Florida, that's done all the research, said he's a horseman and a showman. And he said he wanted to know, like, if there were patterns in certain horses that were more prone to the temperament that needs this stuff. And he said they found that redheads need a lot of help. Redheads with socks need more help. And the worst temperament to deal with is redheaded mare with white socks. And so he looked at my horse and he said, well, he's kind of girly. He's probably like dealing with a redheaded mare with a white sock. Well, the guy's gay himself, so he likes to talk about that kind of thing. He's kind of girly. He goes like a bandit, but he's kind of girly in his thoughts. But the redheaded things with white socks are the hardest to make whoopee with. But it's really amazing what that CBD oil does, because he doesn't cry in the ring, and made a huge difference. I put it in his food, but you can put it under his tongue.
Yeah.
I just throw. Yeah, I know
I guess on their tongue or
yeah, I just put it under his tongue.
Does
That's
it
where
test?
that's where you put homeopathic stuff, because you absorb best from there. But that's really
where you
fun.
put your cocaine too.
Yeah, well, that goes up your nose. Cocaine goes up your nose. And the stuff that is like mare's milking hormone, that goes up their nose. Oh,
Would the CBD oil test?
CBD you can't use with USEF.
Yeah,
It will test.
you'd already test.
It will test. A lot of things won't, but that one will. Like the Rudigrov that we use for their stifles does not test, because it's 30X, so it's so dilute they can't find it. We know this because the French were using arnica, which is a muscle and pain. They were using it in endurance riding, feeding it. And FEI heard about it, so they found a test for it. But they can't find the 30X, which is what we use. And I've been tested at FEI with a 30X.
Why do they care if you use natural stuff?
Because it's
Everything's
performance
natural at one
enhancing.
Well, so technically, if you feed them good food, is that performance enhancing?
I don't think they got a test for that
They're
yet.
like, oh, you don't have to feed crack corn.
But Freund got eliminated from a gold medal at Worlds in Hungary, and he even could prove that his grooms were grazing in a field that had valerian in it, but he,
Valerian root?
but he got eliminated for the valerian in his test. Like with the little Morgan Stallion at home that I teach some, he's kind of,
What about like chamomile?
well, he's the one. And back when I was teaching him in the beginning, He was brilliant. He had an extension to die for. But the man's running barefoot so long he has no gaits anymore. But he had a lesson at 10 o'clock in the morning, and his test wasn't until 3. And they said, well, what should we do with him to preserve him in the mood he's in? And I said, well, take him out for a nice long graze. And they came back and reported he'd had a nice long graze at the far end of the field. He came out to do his test, and he was like hungover. He was like a drunk. He couldn't do anything. He had no lengthen. He just went around sleeping. And I said to him, well, where'd you graze him? He said, oh, Jay took him down to the long end of the dressage field where the grass is greener. So I went down there and looked. He grazed for an hour in a chamomile patch. He was stoned. And by evening, he was back. But he was like, he'd been drinking sleepy time tea. So Freund gave up his gold medal for naturally occurring. Naturally occurring. Well, yeah, it was. Because he was by far the best.
Yeah, besides the reputation factor.
Yes.
What was that?
Nita wants to come in.
We can come. She's going to canter.
Oh, okay. I'll wait.
And, well, you've got 20 minutes still.
Yeah,
Or she has 20 minutes still.
I'm just doing a half hour.
You can wander around outside.
And if it goes a little over a half hour, it ain't no big deal. All we're doing is lunching.
You probably don't want to be in here while she's cantering. Although I had enough people passing through yesterday afternoon. They're stopping to lunch.
Something to lunch?
Yeah, what's her name with the gray quarter horse?
But yeah, I didn't know where the heck to go because she like
She
stopped
can't-
right in the middle where I was.
I don't know what her name is. Cute gal with short blonde hair.
Oh, that's Danya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
came
always
out,
does that.
She
Every
came
time-
out and she's lunging in the middle of Molly's lesson.
She does, and for some reason, she does that to Molly's lessons. Last time, she was like,
Yeah.
going out and running in front of her when she was trying
Like-
to jump.
like-
And Molly's like, well, I can't even go.
Well, it's like this.
She's like, why don't you just go over there? Because if you run in front of the jumps, it's making
That's
you
right. Well, she
jump.
was here, and I said, would you go over in the corner, please? But she acts like Molly's not a human, so it doesn't matter.
Well, that's too bad.
I
Well, she
know.
came in at the end of my lesson.
Yep.
And we already had a jump line set up, so there wasn't a
And
whole-
you were working
room.
around the jump line.
Yeah,
But
and
she
then-
was right in the middle of your track,
It was
and then she
towards
came
the
back
end
and
of
rode
mine.
later.
Well, I put on the board that there's a lunch hour.
Yep.
And we're done at 5 o'clock.
I reviewed that with them yesterday, she and Mary. I
was
mean,
wondering-
Mary came in and tied her horse to the wall, put a blanket on it. I don't know why she had to tie the wall in
I
here.
don't know why she does, because I yelled at her for tying them to the stall fronts.
Well-
I don't know
There's
what you
cross ties for a
ties.
reason.
Or put him,
Because she ties them to the door, the
What?
stall front door, and then I'm
Well,
like,
they'll
if
pull
he.
it off the wall.
What
Well,
if you
and right in the
use cross ties?
doorway. I don't know.
what's wrong with using, even just half a cross tie?
Yeah, right, that's what I do a lot.
Well,
Use
there's
half a cup.
also, there's tie rings, Kathy Shelley put tie rings on every cross tie,
I know.
so you don't even have to cross tie.
But why would you come in here?
Like those tie rings, just like that.
Yep. Why would you come in here in the middle of the lesson,
There.
leave your horse's butt in the track, and,
Because that's what people do.
People
or
are
can't you just drop the rope in the ground, and put his blanket on?
I wonder if we could put
So mine
make
do.
a sign up for
I can put
when
a
clinic's
drop a
going
rope
on.
anywhere, and they'll stay in my blanket.
Indoor arena closed, unless the lesson is.
With a skull and crossbones on it.
Yeah.
All right, let's pick the prints up and we'll do some canter work. He's like, yeah, he's like, how much deeper can I go and you won't be able to do anything? That was a very subtle example of avoidance.
certain things.
You wait.
And then I flick him forward, and he's like, oh,
Yeah, all right.
I'll fall on my
Oh,
head.
so I forgot you were back there.
Right.
How could he forget you back there?
Especially when lessons were done yesterday at 5.
Exactly.
Let's get organized for your canter.
Well, and there was.
Because that's kind of a snarly trot.
Yeah.
Let's go. You want tension here? You got tension. Get your parts together.
Yeah, I got to see the Western video. That was good. Yeah, my foot
That
about
would
dead,
be a
so I
lot of
watched
good.
the Marek one, but I didn't get to watch the last one
Careful.
yet.
There you go.
Someone watched it, maybe she did, I'm not sure.
Just
'cause I
pretty
can
trot.
see when people
Yeah.
do it.
Pretty
We
trot,
watched
pretty trot.
hers,
That's a good boy.
And then we watched.
Yes,
with
that was good. You got a
I
clean
haven't
step.
watched-
I'd rather he didn't make a million shortened strides to come to walk. I want him just to step up and walk. He wants to shorten with the front end to go to
Yeah,
walk,
my phone only had 10%.
and we want him to sit in the back.
Very much anticipating what I'm gonna ask you to do.
what that's about.
So, you know what, we're gonna do something.
He thinks he's a whole lot smarter than you and I got news for him. We have to remind him who's labor and who's management around here. He has the misfortune of being labor. We're management. That's not bad. Whoop, 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 whoop. I'm telling you what I think. He's thinking get going. Yes. The collection kind of boings along down the track, but it shouldn't look like as I'm late for a very important date. Careful. You monkey face. That's better. That's nice with the rear end right there. Big steps. And it, well, he kind of relaxed on the neck too. I have no idea. Yeah, and I'm not sure what you're feeling because it looks like he's a little bit arguing with you. Yeah, that's what it looks like. He looks like rain dance. But he looks like he's saying, I can run through you. There, better. Better. He kind of stayed in your walk now. That means you stop the rear end by putting it underneath you and sitting on it. Oh, he says, damn, I made a mistake.
Pick yourself up. There you go. Make him back up until he picks himself up and actually.
Till he gets done, yeah. Because otherwise, he's backing by dropping his face and pushing himself back from his front leg.
You want to drop it down one or rough cheek?
The middle, like around the
Rough cheek?
Around the stump. You want to use the slot or the stump?
stump.
Yeah. There you go. That's the way the reins hang best on that bit anyway. I switched Josie's to that and it was better. Horse got a little more willing to go, but he was saying, I don't like this hand, I ain't gonna go there. I couldn't blame him.
On Danny's side.
Do you have a cart she can use today or is she too big for your carts?
You can use this one.
Okay, it's not too long for it?
No, I drove him in this one
Okay.
because he did not go well in that one.
No.
That's why she said that there's somebody that wanted to buy that one and I said, sell it.
Sell it.
You know, the single, do you know what I remember now? I remember now, the single tree is bent, and I told them, don't drive in it until you, because what happens is, you know, like normally when one takes, one gives.
Yeah, they
One
rock.
takes, but the other one doesn't give.
So you're getting jammed constantly.
Yes.
That could make you ugly.
That is probably why it's pulling down so hard on his neck. So,
And he has a very straight shoulder. He could wear a neck collar.
and he's got a very high wither,
He's terribly high and bony up there. And he's not kept muscled because he's not working. So we
which is
don't,
why I was having Tara ride
Yeah.
him. I should have told her not to canter him so much the day before.
She cantered
She
him.
was having fun with him.
she cantered him for bloody ever, and I thought, I hope that horse is fit. I forgot he was 18.
Yeah.
Poor
Well,
bugger.
he's somewhat fit because she rides him
A lot.
a lot. I mean,
She-
she rides him probably 4 days a week.
She's not a rider that makes my heart thump happy.
Well, no. No, but you know what, who she was riding was Kate. And that was
Oh.
not good.
That's not gonna hurt. That's not gonna help her riding either.
If she's riding him that much, why was he so dead yesterday for?
Part of
don't
it is for Josie.
I think,
That's how he goes with Josie.
well, you know, I don't think you were here when she started, Donna.
No.
But she picked up the reins, yank, to get in the carriage. Then when she put her foot on the pedal to get on, she yanked again.
Oh.
Then she sat on the seat, wonk, and yanked once more. And he just went,
I'm done.
Before she even went, he was going up.
yeah. When she went to leave, he said, I ain't going there. And his collar is hurting the top of his neck. And that is heavy load for him.
But the
there's-
single tree being bent so it doesn't.
Well,
Yeah.
that kills your shoulder.
Now I remember. I told Donna about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's obviously not the carriage for him or her. Oh, he said, I'll be good, I promise. Little weasel.
Yeah, because he Dudley definitely was
Yeah,
not
he's
forward
not
at all.
And I've seen Tara ride him outside and he was okay.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Morning.
Good morning. Yeah, and I didn't see the very beginning of it, I just saw that.
Yeah, I just the first 3 moves, I was horrified.
Yeah.
Because poor horse was just going, and he's a sweet horse. And I hadn't realized, I didn't remember that he was as old as he is. Ooh, that's pretty floaty. Well, I think he has he has RESPECT all of a sudden. Very nice.
Yeah, I don't think I wanted to see a canner in that snaffle position.
Well, he has been, but today he's got a
today.
case of the bullies.
Sometimes I have to do that. A lot of times, like, I'll warm them up with it down here, and then I'll
And
pop
put
it
it up,
back
yeah.
up in those big rings.
But that particular setting is a very nice one because it doesn't wander around.
And it's basically just because
It's a,
in this ring, sometimes I have to feel like it's going too far in.
yeah. Well,
And
with
then
it,
you make it that way, and I'm like, oh, I
but
need
with it,
something.
with it on that spot, it's stationary, but it can float a little.
Yeah.
Whereas the slot at that spot doesn't work well. And like Josie's bit was collapsing around his face. And he was finding that offensive, and I don't blame him.
And she had it on the right way.
Well,
She had it on backwards once.
No,
And
no.
I was like, oh, that's all right.
With it in the ring, it was just making a mess, so I moved it. I told her to be sure she looked at it before she unhitched. So when you're organized, I want a deviation on the long side. Oh, that's something to do with the riding horse, but he can do it too. Just think about it. You kind of have to pretend you're neck reining because you can't really haul his face around a whole lot or you break the canter. But when you leave the corner, start and back. Hey, you want to lighten your canter? That's how you do it.
Oh, wow.
See the change? It stayed in frame and the whole front end lifted. Yeah, it's very similar to counter canter,
Yep.
and it's what I start. With the riding horses that don't have a rider clever enough to ride counter canter yet. I do this one very good, and you can see him plant his feet and jump, and plant his feet and jump, and he'll get a little tired of it, and you have to tell him you got to do it anyway. Yeah, not quicker. Because the other thing it does, it builds power, which is what you're getting now. And he said, well, I'm going to use that power. Good boy. I said, be careful of the power button. It's like your daughter yesterday had come down to that line in perfect balance, on the perfect stride, and then cluck, and it was like, oh my God, now where's she going?
I had to cancel that one.
That one,
say,
yeah.
what happened there?
Well, when in doubt, you say, I meant that, and abort. I think it'd be lovely. It would be lovely, yes. Because you see what this does for him? You know, he lifts and he lifts and he says, you do have to steer, boss. Yeah, counter can be very good for him. But counter can is a great way to lighten the front end. Yeah, and come back. And he was pretty good. But he started to brace and pop. So you got to remind him not to brace and pop, but to come back. Now keep your outside leg. Yeah, he's not putting up with your shit. You may have to do the counter outdoors because the turns come up pretty fast in here, which is why. Yeah, it's like when I tried to make Cheryl Brivers' damn horse counter band. It was a very nice. He said, "I'm gonna quit on this job." But the deviation really improved the quality of the canter because he was jumping over the ground, and then when you asked him to move out, he leaped out instead of waddling out. He jumped out. It was very nice. And I think with him, because he's been a lot of miles and he's had a lot of training, it's important to keep tickling him with new things. And lifting the canter like that will work for your advanced tests. You've got to do working trot, collected trot, and working canter, collected canter, and then that huge extended canter. So he's got to have
I can do those too.
a runaway. Yes, it does. You have to go all the way across, and you know, you don't know Pierre Guillemette from Quebec, but he had a horse, pretty strong, a Dutch horse. So he'd make him canter to X and then quit. And then he got to the test and he'd canter to X and quit, because Pierre didn't want him running away. But a lot of them, when they start learning that test, change leads. Now he's got his neck in a gross place.
Oh. Sleeping in, enjoying the quiet day.
Good boy. See, it's already lighter. He says, I know that hag's gonna make me. Yeah, he said, I know that hag's gonna make me do that again. The good news is he's very smart, and the bad news is he's very smart. But that's a nice, floaty canter. And it goes uphill, huh? Tell him he doesn't have to go quicker. Yeah, good boy. You know, you cluck and he gives a beautiful jump and he goes, all right, let's run. Nah, never mind, let's run. Just can't.
I guess I have to.
You're like, you're like your daughter. You cluck and everything explodes. She come down that line of fences so balanced, so good. She cluck and the horse and go, I can do 3 at once. Like, don't kill yourself, Molly. Good boy. There, it's floaty and nice, huh? That should feel good in your hand. Should feel like riding. Because he's going like a riding horse. Use your eyes when you go to make the deviations. It's a very nice canter. This is a way above what you've been doing canter. Yeah, but don't let him get falling on his face. When they want to fall on their face, I say, here, have a deviation. You'll lighten up, bugger. Good boy. So all these games, yeah, all these games in your pocket that you can, there you go, you're fine. I think your rain aids got disorganized. I think your outside rain froze down, and it got you a flying change behind. Careful, That was a very nice flying change, but I didn't want it. So don't mess with the rain. Turn him with your eyes. Better, better. Because it'd be easier than going correctly. And then you do the family cluck. Careful, 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 careful. Good boy. Yeah, take it. And remind him to reclaim his brain. Good boy. Good boy. I don't think we need any in here while we're doing this. Careful. Good boy. Good boy. That's better.
I guess it doesn't have to be a huge deviation.
No, you start with a little one. This is one of those situations where Wilson says, you have to convince this horse you can't fight it. Yes, but be careful, because if you leg you off your inside rein, you're going to get a flying change. Now whisper back. There. See, when he pops, he started to pop and then he gave in. But if he pops, he loses. So think leg yield it. Think neck rein in. Now think neck rein out. There you go. And he changed his balance and he got it. But don't let him run off afterwards, because he's like, all right, goddamn you, I got it, now I'm going to run. So you got work to do.
Yeah, I'll work on that project.
But
I got pretty good at doing the running.
yes, you did. You got the running down pat. We got the running broken into the package, right? Whoop, whoop, where you going, buddy? And it's not necessarily that he wants to run off.
No,
It's that it builds power and engages the rear end, and he goes, I can't be holding on to that. It's got to go. They get chicken about holding the power in their backside. Good boy. But particularly when the weather's, I mean, then you got to go back to getting the trot back.
yeah, well, I figured it'd probably be good for, new parents.
Yeah, you kind of have to mix and match all the things we played with, without him looking like a bad park horse. That's better. That's better. Good boy.
If he was a park horse, his belly would like go on the ground.
Yeah, it would. It would.
It's way back.
Like a droopy divan. Careful, buddy. Careful. And you've created a lot of power. You've got wonderful drive off the rear end.
I thought you were going to say you created a monster.
No. Well, he is a monster.
that too.
We knew years ago he was a monster. We spent a lot of time. It's how to train your dragon, which is what Charlotte Jardin uses for the music for a freestyle. How to train your dragon.
Oh, that was an awesome freestyle.
That's Penny's favorite show.
Yeah, I like the music from How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
It goes very, very well with horse skates. So that needed a half halt prior to the request, because he had a different. That's lovely. You know, it doesn't matter if you pop his head up getting him stopped. He's got to stop. And so if he pops his head up, well, he'll grow back. It's not like it's not like he's a head flinger. That was better. So keep it. No. This man, I got to sit on all that power? Yeah, you do. That's a good boy. Okay, I give. Didn't take much. But he has to figure out that he doesn't get to ad lib. He's been trying to ad lib for many, many years.
34 by 6 rubber mat, 20 bucks.
He's incredibly strong. He's very, very strong. He is. He's very clever about His whole program in this world is to suit himself. But the more you work something, the better it gets. You think about what you started with. With a little horse who really did plan to kill you. He'd planned to kill Mary, but he had to pick his plans onto you. Careful, Laddie. That's a good boy. Careful. That's a good boy. Good boy. Now. Oh. Yeah, well, you can still stop the other end. Good boy.
I think sometimes it's like his legs are attached to a string to his head.
Well, the head goes down, the back end pops up.
This end goes down, that end comes up. This end goes down, that end comes up.
He's beautiful way. You just see his ribs when he moves. He's in prime shape.
Yeah, that food is pretty good.
Yeah. It works out really well. When's he going to compete? When's the first show around here? I don't either. No, you probably can't do that. Yeah. We can't compete while the world's falling apart.
No.
No.
And it's not even, because I'm the organizer, so I'm not allowed to, because I probably could.
Yeah.
But
Harvey Waller got smart. He got Mark Johnson to run his show so he can compete.
Yeah.
Because they're the four-in-hand division.
Well, that would be fine if I could get somebody else to run it.
Yeah, I don't notice them waiting in line. I don't see them lined up in the dog.
Everybody good to help? Well, I never can get people help. I do have a lot of help, but
We need help.
yeah, Diane helps a lot. There's a few boarders that help quite a bit. Dale helps a lot.
Dale's pretty useful to have around.
Yeah.
I was glad he stayed and watched the other day because he really enjoyed it. And he could see it. Very good, my friend. I said, can you go away now?
You're welcome,
I've
lady.
been long enough. He says, I've seen enough of you this year.
Anita, you can come in.
I don't think you wanted to be in here then, no. And I wanted to do that project.